The president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, ratifies his support to the Colombian government in the face of the violence unleashed in Catatumbo. Palestinian authorities announced genocidal Israeli forces are lying complete siege to Jenin city. And Georgia have been certified malaria-free by the World Health Organization. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. Now we'll be with the news. Stay with us. The president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, ratified his support to the Colombian government in the face of the violent unleashed in Catatumbo. During the commemoration of the 67th anniversary of the Popular Rebellion of January 23, 1958, the Venezuelan head of state highlighted the work of the Interior Minister of Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello, due to the conflict between the armed groups unleashed in Catatumbo. In this context, he reiterated all the disposition the Venezuelan government to build together with Colombia a region of peace and union in Bolívar.
And starting just on January 22nd, Diosdado was there in Catatumbo, on the Venezuelan side, because later they tried to manipulate the information, and that Diosdado had invaded Colombia. No, 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 we love Colombia, we respect it, and we support it in its struggle for peace, and President Petro knows it, the Colombian society knows it. That from Venezuela it will always have our integral support, for peace, to build Colombia and Venezuela, a region of peace, of prosperity, of union in Bolívar.
On Thursday, a large donation from the French workers arrived in Havana for the hospitals in Cuba. Medicines and health supplies were sent by the General Confederation of Workers of France. This yesterday is the workers' response to the infamous decision of the United States government and other signs of respect for the enormous resistance of the Cuban people. Helena Fontana Valdez, director of the Williams Soler Pediatric Hospital, one of the centers benefiting from the donation, assured that it will be a significant value and will make it possible to provide better attention to the Cuban people.
So it's so warmly welcome the international solidarity of global workers as it comes at this time when that brutal, genocidal government is trying to smother us economically in order to break us as a result of its smothering policy for our country.
Meanwhile, the representative of the General Confederation of Labor of France, Sébastien Viscuso, reaffirmed that Cuban people will not be left alone.
We are here. We are not going to move away from the Cuban people. We are willing the Cuban people can choose their system, their politics, and that no one messes with Cuba.
In Colombia, at least 5 people were injured by motorbike loaded with explosives near a military base in Cauca. The attack coincides with clashes in the area and in the context of the armed conflicts that is taking place in the South American country. According to the Army, since October 2024, 500 explosives have been destroyed and 12 members of these structures have been captured or subdued. However, the attacks persist, which has generated concern for the safety of the civilian population. A video from the Colombian armed forces is circulating in media and social networks in which they state that the conflict in Catatumbo is a result of attempts by armed groups to control the land and illicit business.
It is a great honor for me as commander of the Army to receive you here in the canton of our Brigade 30, in Cucuta, You have been deployed from where you were in the 4th Division precisely to attend to a special situation that has been occurring in this department.
En este departamento. ¿De qué se trata la situación? De una confrontación.
What is the situation about? There is a confrontation between organized armed groups. In this area, the 33rd degree and the northeastern war front of the ELN. These structures, until a few days ago, did not have any problems. They were in the same areas, they shared the territory, and also shared their illegal finances, but they entered into a confrontation precisely because of what these armed structures are fighting for illicit economies.
Moving on, in Thailand's capital Bangkok, the number of school forced to close due to severe air pollution rose to more than 350, the highest numbers in 5 years. By Friday morning, 352 of the 437 schools under Bangkok's metropolitan administration has closed their doors, affecting thousands of students. The Thai capital is the 7th most populated major city in the world, according to the Swedish air quality technology campaign IQ-Air. Air pollution is seasonal in the Southeast Asian nation as colder does stagnant winter, the air combines with smoke from the burner corpses, ovals, and current fumes. Let's take a very short break, but remember you can join us on our TikTok account at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. In Mexico, protests broke out in Culiacan, Sinaloa, after the death of 2 children and their father in a car and related shooting. The boys, aged 9 and 12, were killed along with their father when they were caught in the crossfire during an attempt in links to factional infighting within the Sinaloa cartel. Thousands of demonstrators marched from boys' schools to local government offices, demanding justice and an end to the escalated violence that has gripped the city.
We want to be able to go out at any time and be calm, without fear, to be able to go to school without fear, in peace. The authorities and the unions, who are supposed to protect the workers, the families, and everyone else, should join us. They should not be afraid. We will continue to work. But please don't hurt the children.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum report on the installation of care centers which are carried out within the framework of the Mexican plan.
Los centros de atención van bien, me reportaron ahora.
The attention centers are going well. I was informed at the security meeting that there are 2 that are finishing setting up tonight.
Hay 2 que terminan hoy en la noche ya de instalarse. Y los otros estarán más o menos entre.
And the others will be ready by Saturday, probably by the end of the week, so everyone will have this information.
Para que todos tengan esto.
The Mexican president also thanked the Business Coordinating Council for creating 35,000 jobs for Mexicans who are deported from the U.S.
Incluso recuerdo que les agradecemos porque
I even remind you that we thank them because they are offering about 35,000 job vacancies at this moment for Mexicans who could be deported from the United States and who will be received in the centers of attention.
de Estados Unidos.
Mexicans and migrants contribute at least 10% of the U.S. gross domestic products, equivalent to $2 trillion, that they also made the growing demands of the U.S. labor market. Let's take a closer look with our correspondent Antonio Aranda.
Various academic studies confirm that migration has economic benefits for the countries that host these people. Ariane is a migrant. She has been living in Mexico for 4 months. She works in a creamery and earns $100 a week. Half of that money stays in the local economy. The rest she sends to her family.
We work to subsist ourselves and also to send money to our families. In the different countries, depending on the immigrant, the contribution is really significant. We are talking about having a contribution in the economy of the country. We really try to be helpful, compliant, responsible to comply 100%.
A report by the International Organization for Migration indicates that migrants contribute to increasing the productivity of the receiving country, whether they are skilled or unskilled labor.
We work from 7 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon, and we are always sending money, all the time, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, but we are always sending. The migrants that are here, we try to save the money to be able to sustain and pay rent and pay for everything we need to pay.
In the case of the United States, the value of goods and services from the Latin community amounts to $3.6 trillion, highlights a report presented at the morning conference of President Claudia Sheinbaum.
If Latinos in the United States were a single economy, they would be the 5th largest economy in the world. They would be smaller than the United States as a whole, China, Japan, and Germany. Latinos in the United States would be second only to those 5 countries.
12 million Mexican migrants live in the United States, and last year they sent $65 billion in remittances, highlighted President Sheinbaum.
Mexicans in the United States contribute to the national economy with remittances that represent their love for their family, their love for their country, and we thank them and call them heroes and heroines. But also Mexicans contribute to the economy of the United States.
Due to economic integration, mass deportations of migrants in the United States could cause an increase in the inflation rate, explains this specialist.
Let's assume that they do put in the natives. Then of course prices go up and the services that the Latinos, the Mexicans, the undocumented are doing. All those kinds of things that are actually below the price of the cost that is paid and that they consume less, but produce a lot. There is a lower level of inflation at the moment that there is no clear inflation that can go up.
En el momento en que no lo haya, claro que puede subir la inflación.
In the United States, the arrival of migrants of productive age helps to mitigate the lack of native labor caused by the aging of the population.
Antonio Aranda, teleSUR, Ciudad de México.
Let's take a last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch on interviews, sub stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. And financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. Palestinian authorities announced genocidal Israeli forces are laying complete siege to Jenin city. The brief governor of Jenin, Mansour Sadi, claimed that the occupying forces have cordoned off the foreign main entrance to the city and the refugee camp. The authority detailed that huge berms prevent civilians residents from entering or leaving the area. Saadi further specified that the siege includes airstrikes and ground incursions that have already left 12 dead and numerous wounded. The deputy governor noted that Israeli forces have burned several homes. The official asserted that the situation is even worse, not only due to the precarious conditions of the governmental hospital, but also due to the Israeli regime that has cut water and electricity in addition to limiting the entry of fuel. Georgia joins a list of 40 malaria-free countries as of Friday, according to the World Health Organization, which considered this achievement a historic milestone. The director of the organism, Tedros Adhanom, has congratulated the government and the Georgian people, recognizing decades of sustained and specified actions that contribute to eliminate this disease, considered one of the diseases that has caused most death in the world. For its part, the Georgian Minister of Health, Mikhail Valdez, assured that the certification is a recognition to the sustainability of the health system. Moving on, the Children of the War Museum was inaugurated in Kosovo, a place that commemorates the fear left by the conflict between 1998 and 1999. The new gallery, which is located in Pristina, the capital of that territory, has a large number of objects from the children who lived during that time, such as toys, letters, videos, and photographs, which describes the fight, the hiding, and the fear during the armed conflict of those years. The museum director stressed that its opening aims to educate visitors about the harmless reality of children in the world and the martyr it lives for later years, in addition to filling in information gaps surrounding the situation. The director also noted that the exhibition, a narrative, seeks to be a platform for visibility and a collective memory of the victims.
The purpose is to educate the audience as well, because we see that the education system in Kosovo lacks comprehensive education when it comes to war and other fields as well, but at the same time to create this platform that people who experienced war can come and feel seen and accepted and can grieve the losses that they encounter during their experience as well. So to also
it's very strong emotion to see this 25 years ago, and it's even more when I think that many people in Kosovo will see this, and this will be, an important conversation we should go through. This is a collective trauma of war. That more we talk, better it is. So I'm really grateful to organizers that brought this amazing exhibition together with not only drawings but many objects, and I see it brings you back, and each of us can interpret in their way,
Alexander Snitko, a Soviet worker from Govel, Belarus, is a symbol of Soviet internationalism, the liberation movements in Latin America. Oleg Yasinskins with more details.
In the
Belarusian city of Gomel lives a very special person who became a protagonist of the movement of Soviet solidarity with Latin America, Alexander Snitko, whose collection is really impressive and very valuable for the historical memory of the Soviet and Latin American people.
If there was racism in capitalism, in the Soviet Union there was anti-racism, friendship between peoples, and the Soviet youth was educated with this, with the ideas of internationalism, friendship between peoples, different races and different nationalities. And that is why the Soviet youth was not indifferent to the tragedies, to the injustices that occurred in some distant countries.
Es uno de los fundadores del movimiento de solidaridad con América Latina.
He is one of the founders of the movement of solidarity with Latin America in the Soviet Union in the 1970s and 1980s, participated in the activities of international brigades, doing voluntary work in the USSR itself, to collect resources to support the struggle of the Latin American peoples. At the same time, he was in charge of the popularization in the Soviet space of the culture and history of Latin America.
Alexander Snitko popularized Latin America. He spoke of what cannot be sold, of what does not cost money, but of solidarity with the people who fought and continue to fight now for a new world, against globalism, against imperialism, for human dignity, for the independence of the peoples of all continents.
За человеческое достоинство, за независимость народов на всех континентах.
The Soviet Union was an alternative to savage and unjust capitalism and proposed to build a more humane and just society. This was represented in the practice of the internationalist brigades organized by its own citizens. The common Soviet citizen could not remain indifferent to the pains and struggles of the peoples of the world, and many were encouraged to help and participate in national liberation movements.
The level of civilization has reached such a degree, the modern planetary civilization, that it is impossible to solve any problems within national borders. This is only possible thanks to the joint efforts of mankind. And the most important thing is the attitude of friendship and solidarity with people of different races and different cultures.
The Soviet movement showed solidarity with the peoples of Latin America, and this is not a past stage. This is something that shows itself in a new way, and something that, of course, will be reborn in one form or another. Something that will not only be remembered, but will be very important. And these connections will only get stronger and stronger.
Thousands of people in Belarus and Russia continue to preserve the ethics inherited from the Soviet era, and in their daily lives they defend the best values of humanity. Because it is never too much to remember the words of Ernesto Che Guevara, that solidarity is the tenderness of peoples.
teleSUR, Moscow.
We have come to the end of this brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook and X and on Instagram as well. For teleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.